Hey everybody, welcome to week number 3. This is the week that I've been looking forward to for a while because this is the week we get to talk about tech when it comes to dealing with a Facebook Live video. Up till now, you guys have done a great job as far as doing the Facebook Lives, but I'm sure you've run into a few issues along the way, probably setup wise, and I wanted to go over today a couple of quick things that you can do to make life a little bit easier for you. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a full studio in order to get good video, but there are some basics like I taught you last week as far as the composition of things. And then once you have the composition down and you're starting to figure out the lighting end of it, there's some things that can make life a little bit easier for you. Like right now, I'm actually recording this video on a tripod and a regular camera. But I'm going to give you an idea of a few things you can do with your phone, your smartphone, that will help you to get the best out of any Facebook Live that you would be wanting to do. So I'm going to show you a few products here today. By all means, these are not the end-all be-all. There are other things out there. I just wanted to give you a few ideas as to what you could get. So first thing we're going to talk about is a nice sturdy tripod. You can go out and get a real high-end tripod, but most of the time it's not really what you're going to need for doing Facebook Lives. So I have this to start off with, is this little $5 store find. I went to Five Below with my daughters not too long ago, and I saw this there. It's $5, and it literally is billed as a smartphone tripod, as you'll see here. Pretty simple. It's got a bendable leg, so you can kind of set it up wherever you want to set it. You could even actually, let me see if I can do this here. You could have it so it's hanging off of something like a tree branch or something, just by bending the legs over whatever you want. But the nice thing is if you straighten the legs out, you can set this on a tabletop. And basically your smartphone would just go inside here like so. So now you've got a nice sturdy thing. You're not having to hold your smartphone out front, and you're not fighting with it. Now, one of the things about this is it's a little cheap, a little bit on the cheaply made side, but it will definitely do what you need it to do. Now, let's say you want to go up into just a little bit better product. If you start looking into the $30 to $50 range, you can pick up these Joby style, they call them Joby, it's the name of the company, tripods. Same thing, bendable legs. You can kind of set things up wherever you want to set them. The only drawback to these is you have to actually buy an adapter separately for your smartphone. That looks a little bit something like this. And basically what it has is it has an expandable piece that opens up, and your smartphone sets right inside like this. Pretty simple, pretty simple setup. And what you do is you take this bracket and you spin it onto the top of the tripod. Nice thing about this, if you buy these these pieces separately, if you decide you want to put this top piece on a larger tripod, you can do so also. So it kind of gives you the flexibility to bounce back and forth. But again, pretty straightforward. Again, if you were outside and you were doing something like an outdoor, I know what I can use for an example. The Frozen video that Carmela, our winner last week, did. She could literally go up to a tree, wrap this around the branch. Now she's got her phone hanging, or smartphone hanging from the branch, all held in nice and tight with this type of tripod. So those are a couple things you can do as far as tripod mounts for your smartphone. Now, another thing that you may want to start thinking about, especially if you're dealing with what I deal with here. My house is fairly dark, so when I do a Facebook Live, I need to light the background somehow usually. Otherwise, it looks really, really bad, even with my lights on. So what you can do is, using this same tripod, for about, I believe these go for about, I want to say somewhere in the area of $60 to $100, depending on where you buy them. It's basically an LED light, battery operated. You can see, I'll bring it up a little bit close. It's a bunch of little tiny little LEDs. And then it has a what they call a diffuser, which basically allows the light to be diffused, make it a little bit softer so it doesn't look like a harsh flashlight on you. And then there's a little dial on the side. I'm going to turn this on. It might blind people for a minute. But you'll see it's a pretty bright light. And what you can do with this, again, battery operated, so you can take it wherever you want. This has the same style mount, so it will also mount on to your tripod. So now I can set this on the table behind my other tripod with my smartphone on it, and I've got some decent light. You can see, I'll show you kind of what it looks like here. So you can see the light hitting me. I'm really making my camera go crazy right now because what you don't see is I have a really big light setup in the back right now. But basically give you an idea as far as that. So this whole setup here with the tripod and the light is probably a little bit over $100. So that's two options you can go with. The $5 store tripod, which is right here. And then you start looking in the, you know, a little bit more expensive range, you know, under $100. You can start getting tripods like this. And then of course you could always go up into a larger camera tripod. Those will run anywhere from about $70 to, you can pay up to, you know, thousands of dollars for a really good video tripod. But again, for what we're doing here, it's probably not what you're going to really need to deal with. Now, another thing you want to do is obviously you've got the lighting taken care of, a nice sturdy tripod. When you start getting back further away from an iPhone or a smartphone of any type, the volume and the recording of the audio starts to get a little bit worse. So what you want to do is go out and get yourself a microphone of some sort. Now they make microphone kits that you can buy fairly inexpensively. They start anywhere from about $10 all the way up to a couple of $100, depending on what you're doing, if you want wireless or wired. And you basically, the wired ones, you plug right into your cell phone, smartphone, and you're able to record that way. Actually, if you've seen Justin Kerr's video with Froyo, the wolf, the wolf puppet he has on his shoulder, they use what they call a interview kit that is made for smartphones, and it's basically a jack that plugs into your phone that has a splitter off of it that allows two lapel mics, much like what I have here. So I think he paid $40 or so, something like that, somewhere in that vicinity for it. You can get them a little bit cheaper or a little bit more expensive depending on how big of a quality, how good of a quality you want, how often you're going to be doing it. Now, in the case of what I'm talking to you on right now, I do have a lapel mic. Mine is actually a wired lapel mic. I'll show you here. See, there's a long wire that goes all the way back to my camera, but this would also work on my my smartphone. So, and it's got a little battery power pack into it that kind of boosts the volume, makes it a little bit easier to hear me, so I don't have to yell when I'm talking. So that's options as far as the two options you have as far as that. You have the lapel kits, or you can buy just a long single wired kit like that. Now, if you may say, well, you know what, I don't like having to fight with wires. You're right, wires can be a pain in the butt, so there's two other options you can go with. Well, there's probably more than two, but here's a couple more options you can go with. One, you can go out, this runs about $140, or one, just a little bit on the pricier side. This is called a Rode boom mic. This actually attaches onto the top of, you can set it up on a bracket similar to what the light bracket on a tripod would work. And then it's just got a jack that would plug into your smartphone. You may have to get an adapter for something like this. This one here I use specifically for my DSLRs, which is just a fancy name for a digital 35mm camera. But this will definitely, I've used this in the past on a smartphone, and it does work. It is battery operated with a 9-volt battery also. Or you can also go what they call a wireless lav, or a wireless lapel mic, where you have two wired units. One goes on, hooks up into the smartphone or your camera, and then the other one just goes on your belt pack, and it's got another lav mic just like this. These are battery operated, so now you're able to walk around a little bit away from the camera without having to worry too much. So those are the basics as far as what you could deal with as far as getting ready to do a Facebook Live. Now, there is one other thing that's a really cool item, and I've actually used it. We've actually used it in the Marketing Essentials team for some of the live videos we've done, and that is a gimbal unit, they call it, which is pretty cool. I'll show you how it's set up real quick. It may take me a second, so just bear with me. This one is made by Zhiyun, is the name of the company. It's a Japanese company, I believe. And what it is it's a powered gimbal that you hook your phone into, your smartphone into, this is a gimbal unit that, once I tighten it up, when you turn the power on, now you'll see I have a, no matter which way I move my hand, this is a really cool unit, no matter which way I move my hand, it keeps a nice smooth motion while I'm doing a Facebook Live. Other thing is, if I'm doing a Facebook Live and I wanted to show somebody something that's behind me, I can just do this. There we go. Got to hit the right button. But basically, it allows me to swap around the gimbal, and now I can show you what's behind me or in front of me. And again, like I said, it's pretty cool. This all runs on a battery pack, basically, that's built into the unit. You just charge it like you would your smartphone. And the great thing about this is I can take this on the road. I can walk down the street while I'm talking to you, and you're not going to get that motion sickness or that shake and rattle you normally see when somebody's moving around while talking with their phone, talking and doing a live on their phone. The other cool thing about this unit is, I don't know if you can see underneath it, there's a little screw mount. So I can actually set this up on top of a tripod, and I can also control via my smartphone if I wanted to, or a secondary, like an iPad or a tablet. I can control the directions that it moves while I'm sitting down, so if I wanted to pan around a room or whatever. But yeah, it's a pretty cool unit. This one here, the Zhiyun, goes for, I caught mine on sale for $100. They normally go for about $129, but they make more expensive versions that run around $200-300 that are made by DJI. So I think that's all I have as far as cool gadgets to kind of show you. There are a lot more than this, but I just wanted to give you a flavor for some of the stuff that you can use when it comes to doing Facebook Lives. So your challenge for this week, it's going to be a little bit difficult, more difficult than the last few that we've had, primarily because it's going to ask you to think about outside the box a little bit. So here's what I'm looking for this week. And before I go too far, I'm going to let you know that Alicia is the one that is judging this week. And I've heard she can be a little bit tough as far as how she grades, so to speak, on these videos. So I'm only kidding. I'm kidding. Alicia will be great with it. But here's what we're going to be looking for as far as the video. This week, I want you to go ahead and do a behind the scenes video. Well, what does that mean? Some of you may say, well, what I do for a living doesn't really lend itself to a behind the scenes video. And that may be true. So I'm going to give you two options as far as how you're going to do this behind the scenes video. One is you can actually show yourself or your workspace how you do what you do. How you put together your product, how you edit something. In my case, it could be maybe I'll show you how I edit a portrait, or so something behind the scenes as far as that. That's option number one. Option number two is you can just go ahead and tell me some of the things that you do behind the scenes to make sure you have a happy customer. So those are the two options you have. As always, you need to get them in by the end of day on Wednesday. And on Friday, Alicia will be announcing our winner for the week. Now, I will also say that while the questions have slowed down a little bit, I'm sure that at least one of us will hop on during the course of this week and do a live Q&A for you. So if you have any other questions, keep those in mind. It'll probably be Tuesday afternoon time frame, somewhere in that area, where we'll actually hop back on and answer whatever questions you have. So having said that, that's all I've got for this week. Have a great week. Get hopping on those Facebook Live videos, and we'll see you soon. Bye.